guys, back again today with a book unboxing. Still in my office, still having my green screen used, so didn't want to wait, but I wanted to share the new books that I got today. Alright, so we have A Boy Is Not a Bird by Adit Raval. This looks like historical fiction. Yep. In 1940, life in Nat's small town in Eastern Europe is comfortable and familiar, even if his parents insist on treating him like a baby. Nat knows there's a war going on, of course, but he's glad his family didn't emigrate to Canada when they had a chance. Then one day, Nat learns that the Russians are taking over. The churches and synagogues will close. Hebrew school will be held in secret, and there are tanks and soldiers in the streets. Yet it's exciting, too. Nat wants to become a young pioneer and make their new leader, Comrade Stalin, proud. But then Nat's father is arrested, and even Nat is detained and questioned. As his mother tries to protect him from the reality of their situation and local authorities begin to round up deportees bound for Siberia, Nat is filled with a sense of guilt and grief. His father told him that war is when you get a chance to be a hero. So why doesn't Nat feel like one? So that looks like it's going to be a very unique World War II story. And historical fiction is my favorite genre, so I'm excited about that one. Okay, we have Boyline. It says Orca Sports, so a new sports book. A lot of the synopsis is covered up, unfortunately, but see, I can make out that Nat, Owen, and Mercy have been going to Camp Clearwater for years, but when they turn 16, an incident forces the camp to close its doors. Mike Elliott, the river kayaking guide who taught the teens everything they know, is lost to the rapids of the Starling River. A tragic accident, everyone agrees, except for Nate. He's never met a better paddler than Mike. If the instructor was pulled under, Nate is sure foul play was involved. So kind of sports, but adventure, and a little bit of mystery there too. It's really cool illustration there on the front. The Class by Frances O'Rourke Dowell. The illustration continues on the back, all the students' names, I suppose, from the class. 6th grade is a most confusing time. Best friends are no longer friends. Worst enemies suddenly want to be partners in crime. And classmates you thought you knew were acting strange. The kids in Mrs. Herrera's class are dealing with all these things, plus 3 more. Number 1, there's a new girl who seems to be spying on them all and scribbling things in a notebook. Maybe she is a spy? Number 2, someone is stealing Mrs. Herrera's most treasured items, the ones in the do not touch case. Number 3, they discover that one of their classmates, Sam, isn't supposed to be a classmate at all, which leads to a 4th thing. We can't tell you about that yet. The 20 kids in Mrs. Herrera's class can, though, and they do. Every single one of them. So it looks like each chapter, oh, how cool. Each chapter is told from a different character's perspective. So if you like alternating narrators, this is a serious alternating narrator situation happening where we have a new perspective every chapter. Very unique. And that's The Class. I have here a Kate DiCamillo, Beverly right here. This is what Beverly wanted, what she always wanted. To get away as fast as she could. To stay away. Beverly Topinski has run away from home plenty of times, but that was when she was just a kid. Now that she's 14 years old, she figures it's not running away, it's leaving. Determined to make it on her own, Beverly finds a job and a place to live and tries to forget about her dog. Buddy, now buried underneath the orange trees back home, her friend Raimi, whom she left without a word, and her mom Rhonda, who has never cared about anyone but herself. Beverly doesn't want to depend on anyone, and she definitely doesn't want anyone to depend on her. But despite her best efforts, she can't help forming connections with the people around her, and gradually she learns to see herself through their eyes. Two-time Newbery medalist Katie Camillo returns once more to the characters she introduced in the #1 New York Times bestseller, Rainy Nightingale, to bring us the story of Beverly Topinski, who will break your heart and put it back together again. So it sounds like it's kind of a sequel to the Rainy Nightingale book, but so if you've read that one and you liked it, this will be great. But it also sounds like it's a story about a different protagonist. So I think if you didn't read the first one, but you wanted to read this, I think you would be okay with that too. We have The Absence of Sparrows. That's a cool cover. And it's by Kurt Kirschmeyer. It's spreading, I heard Pete say. And it was. The glass plague is unstoppable. Not much happens in the small town of Griever's Mill, where 11-year-old Ben Cameron spends his time bird-watching and hanging out with his family. But everything goes wrong when a sinister darkness rolls in. Mr. Crandall is the first to change. Human 1 minute, and a glass statue the next. Soon, it's happening across the world. Dark clouds fill the sky, and at random, people are turned into frozen versions of themselves. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and no one knows how to stop it. Ben is certain that the victims of the glass plague can't be gone forever, and that a flock of missing sparrows holds the key to bringing them back. But will the birds return with the statue's souls before it's too late? With his mom on the verge of a breakdown and his brother getting brainwashed by a dangerous voice on the radio, Ben vows to protect one important statue from being shattered, even if it means standing against his own family. Debut author Kurt Kirschmeyer explores mystery, sorrow, and the power of hope in this unique and poignant coming-of-age story. So that is a very unique sounding storyline. We have another copy of the crossover. So this is Kwame Alexander's graphic novel edition of this book. And I actually have 3 total copies of this, and I think this is going to be a very popular title because I know how popular Kwame's titles are. So if you are interested, I'm sure I can get you a copy. Stop on by. All right, I have Lin Tang and the Pirate Queen by Tamara Moss. Lin Tang is an island girl who longs for daring and danger. When she meets the infamous pirate captain Shafira, Lin Tang is determined to join her crew. But life's not easy aboard a pirate ship, and things only get harder when Lin Tang discovers her best friend, Bayani, has stowed away and is desperate to stay hidden. Lin Tang is torn between loyalty to her friend and to her new captain, especially when she learns Bayani is guarding a secret that could change the world. Mysteries, battles with fearsome monsters, and narrow escapes fuel Tamara Moss's thrilling tale of friendship and adventure on the high seas. So fantasy, adventure, if that's your thing, that's for you. And our very last book in the box, we have The Disaster Days. All right, so we covered up a little bit here, but I think it says, I turned the radio dial off. The silence in the living room felt thick with dread. I looked away from the kids. Andrea wasn't going to be home anytime soon. Neither was my mom. We were all alone, in a shaken and shattered house, in the dark. One of us was bleeding. All of us were terrified, and I was in charge. Hannah Steele loves living on Pelling, a tiny island near Seattle. It's a little disconnected from the outside world, but it's been her home forever, and she's always felt safe there. So when she's asked to babysit after school one day, she thinks it's no big deal. Zoe and Oscar are her next-door neighbors, and Hannah just took a babysitting class, which she's pretty sure makes her an expert. She isn't even worried that she left her inhaler at home. Then, the shaking begins. The terrifying earthquake only lasts 4 minutes, but it changes everything, damaging the house, knocking out the power, and making phone service non-existent. Even worse, the ferry and the bridge connecting the kids to help and their parents are both blocked, which means they're stranded and alone. And Hannah's in charge as things go from bad to worse. A thrilling and realistic survival story that explores how far we can push ourselves in the face of crisis. So I'm not sure if we're putting that one in realistic fiction or if that's going to go in adventure. But neat topic because we learn all about natural disasters this year in science. And so it might be interesting to read a story with that as a central part of the plot. And that's all I have from Junior Library Guild today. But I do have tons and tons of new books in the Media Center. So if you haven't been down here in a while to check it out, please come. And I also have a lot of those books, or actually really all of those books right now are on the bookmobile. So if you see the bookmobile come by your classroom, make sure you tell your teacher that you're interested in taking a look. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you find something that you like to read. Bye.